before we start, can I maybe get a show of hands? Who of you has worked with or in a startup before? Raise your hand, please. Amazing, this is great. And then who considers themselves a builder today? Great, okay. So all of you, all of you did come to the right place. This is a panel on the opportunities for founders with venture scale ambitions. And the objective of this talk is to provide you an overview of what the PLN at large and the PL Founders Program specifically have to offer founders with venture scale ambition. All right, so let's start with, a round of introduction of our amazing panelists. Maybe, at the very back, Jonathan, you want to start?
Thank you. Hey, everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm a co-founder of Glyph. I'm not sure if you heard of Glyph, but we built a lot of critical apps and tools for the Filecoin network, like a wallet, a multi-sig, and we run nodes as well. So if you haven't heard of Glyph, you're going to hear it soon.
Hi, everyone. Shikai here, partner at Longhash Ventures. At Longhash Ventures, we bootstrap ecosystems, and we're honored to have been the first accelerator to work with great ecosystems like Polkadot, XLR, and of course, Filecoin with Protocol Labs. Since 3 years ago, then 3 cohorts now. We've accelerated more than 70 startups and helped them raise more than $150 million collectively, many of them at unicorn valuations already. And last year, we also announced our 100 million fund focused on multi-chain infrastructure.
Hey, my name is Vuk. I'm the founder of Filmine. We are a liquid staking protocol for Filecoin. We are building a bunch of tools that make life easier for storage providers, working with great folks like Seagate. And basically building a bunch of infrastructure that allows the Filecoin ecosystem to be much more efficient.
I'll pass it back to you. I'm Gabriel. I'm the founder and managing partner of Graph Paper Capital. Graph Paper Capital is an early stage Web3 accelerator and networked ecosystem. So we're a network of fellow founders and builders. Myself, I'm a 3-time founder, 2-time EIR. I previously founded and built Tachyon, which was a Web3 accelerator incubated inside of Consensus Mesh. We invested in over 90 Web3 companies. They've collectively raised $150 million at close to $1 billion in valuations. We've been longtime business partners with the folks at Protocol Labs. And as part of our new accelerator, really focused on bringing in high quality, high engaged, high and leveraged individuals to help mentor our founders as fellow builders, helping you get from 0 to 1 quickly.
Thank you, Gabriel. And hi, everyone. My name is Denise, and I'm here to represent the PLN side of things. My team is called Spaceport, and we are the super connectors in the network. You can think of us as that hub in a hub and spoke network model. We are here to provide connections, help teams collaborate with each other. An example is we're starting a new program for founders within the network to support each other, get connected, focused around FVM. 2 of the teams within this program were David from Lit Protocol and T being from Ownership Labs. And both of those 2 teams came to the PLN via Longhash. So they're very familiar with Shikai's work. And similarly, I've personally worked very closely with Matt and Justin from Monaverse. They're very familiar with Gabriel and are the reason, we're also big fans of them at the PLN. So thank you so much for bringing them in. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, and closing it out, my name is Ruben, and I work with founders at Protocol Labs. Amazing. Cool. So let's start maybe with the investor's perspective, looking at, Shikai and then also at you, Gabriel. So what excites you about FVM?
All right. Yeah, I think firstly, FVM enables a lot of new ideas, new mechanisms that previously were either impractical or unheard of, right? I think things like data DAOs, things like decentralized CDNs, and of course, compute over data. So of course, these were really mind-blowing announcements, but what do they mean, right? Kind of like, what kind of verticals can these affect? So a couple of ideas come to mind. One is with things like data DAOs. What if currently with, say, NFT, PFP communities, they're very passive holders? What if we can incentivize them to create content? So it's truly a community-driven approach. Here, we can look again at things like AI, right? Where there's a lot of data and compute that's required. And how do you keep it, let's say, with a self-sovereign basis? How do you do that over self-sovereign data? How do you organize compute over a large decentralized network? How do you run the computations of these models after they've been trained in a decentralized and verifiable way? So all these are exciting new possibilities, and there might be some Web 2 possibilities that we can port over to Web 3 as well. That were previously impractical. Things like look at TikTok, look at Twitch or YouTube. Now with FVM, these things can come to Web 3 as well.
Amazing. And Gabriel, would love to hear from you as well.
Ditto. I agree with everything that Shikai said. Maybe putting my investor and founder hat on, maybe I'll answer from both sides of the seat. So I think the first thing that's really exciting is, Filecoin is based on real functional use case, right? Which means the demand is really sticky. It's not like we're building another, trading platform to, speculate on monkey JPEGs or something, right? Like there's real actual demand. Proof of physical work, I think, is something that that investment thesis that Multicoin has come up with, I think, is really smart. And so as you layer in this, programmatic aspect of Filecoin via FVM, opening up this open data economy, I think creates all new business use cases, which creates a massive market. We would venture to guess that this is going to open up something, orders of magnitude, trillions of dollars worth of economic value. That's a massive TAM. And again, it's highly sticky if you're a builder building in that ecosystem because it's based on real functional use case, right? And so then the other thing that I think about a lot is as a founder, as a builder, you don't want to be entering into hyper-competitive markets. Like if you're a founder building an AI or ML company right now, good luck to you. It's extremely competitive right now. But this is a whole new frontier. This is a whole new ecosystem that's opening up. And the possibilities are absolutely mind-boggling. Shikai mentioned a number of them, whether they be data DAOs, whether they be new DeFi applications, but it's a whole new primitive. And I think we're going to see a lot of first mover advantages in this ecosystem, which means, early builders, early startup, founders and developers sitting in this room. It's a massive, massive opportunity, and it's anchored to a huge TAM for you. So I think that's very exciting.
Amazing. All right. Thank you for sharing from the investor's perspective. Let's maybe turn it over to the founders and the builders here. So I would love to hear, maybe from you, Vuk, what excites you about like FVM?
Yeah, generally, I would like to double down on what Gabriel just said. I usually always wanted to be part of an ecosystem that is super young. Joined the Ethereum ecosystem 2017. We were clueless on what we were doing, and basically in an act of desperation, we built a dev tool because we were developers. But actually, it turned out to be great, and that company is valued at 300 million now because we were first. And we were focused on actually solving problems that were there, talking to a bunch of users, and just ride that innovation wave that, of course, happened with the Ethereum ecosystem. Then I joined Cardano. I was leading smart contracts there, helped a few startups that were pretty bad, but they were first. And they also raised tens of millions of dollars. They did a great success. They are still around, super successful. And that just shows that it's super important to time when you're actually joining an ecosystem and what we're working on, rather than being much better from the operational standpoint from other people around you. So I would say the Filecoin ecosystem is super young, even though it's been around for 2 years, because smart contracts were not out yet. You could not actually do most of the stuff. So all of that was kind of postponed to the point where now you have ways of actually flexibly defining things on chain and actually capturing the value, which was super hard to do before.
Super exciting. Maybe Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, first, just to echo what you all said, I totally agree. I'll provide a little bit of my own spin as well. So the reason that I got involved in this ecosystem to begin with was just content addressable data. Does that mean things to people in this room? Content addressable data, multi-hashing, the problems with location addressed data. Anyways, I'll skip the nerd out. But I've been waiting for this moment since I started building in the IPFS space. The types of protocols and new storage primitives that we can build with the FVM and multi-hashes are not possible to do today anywhere else, right? So that type of stuff excites me when a technology completely enables some other technology that was impossible to come before it. So yeah, that gets me excited.
Amazing. All right, so let's imagine, that we have all of these founders out there. They are, ready to go. Their teams are burning to build. I know that you, Shikai, and you, Gabriel, you have something cooking. Do you want to share with the audience what you have planned, a little bit on the timelines, maybe starting with Gabriel this time?
Yeah, actually, we just soft launched today and announced. So I'm very excited. We're going to be making significant investments in this ecosystem. I think we're very excited. So our May batch applications open March 15th, the day after mainnet launch for FVM. We're going to be looking for 10 to 12 companies, amazing founders that we can work very closely with, giving you seed capital, so $250,000 investment in your company, access to a massive network, over 100 people within our network and ecosystem, primarily of founders turned investors like me, who like to be very hands-on, helping you iterate. The best early users or customers that you can get are people who have built companies before. They give the absolute best feedback on product, on market, on go-to-market. That's what our network is primarily based off. So we really want to create the most high leverage, highly engaged network for founders building in this space. So very excited about that. It'll obviously conclude with a demo day, but we'll give you access to our investor network. We've been building that network over years, over 4 or 5 years now. Again, we've previously backed over 90 companies that have invested, raised more than 150 million at close to $1 billion in valuation. So we're expecting very big things from this ecosystem, and we want to make some significant investments in founders that are building in this ecosystem. So if that's you, we'd love to meet you.
All right. In parallel as well, instead of soft, here I am to announce officially that we will be opening applications for the FVM Genesis Accelerator cohort powered by Longhash X. So, all right. So all the teams that are coming, sorry, just a little bit on the program. Each team that joins will receive 200,000 in funding, and of course, with our dedicated venture building support, the mentorship support from fellow builders who are more experienced or investors, and of course, workshops on the most popular topics like product strategy and design. Let's say tokenomics, governance, community building, and of course, essential things like legal and fundraising. And I'd like to share a little bit of an interesting thing as well. Well, over the years, we have been expanding our network and also trying to decentralize our network. So we have launched, actually, in the current or the previous accelerator cohort, what we call the Longhash Web, a soulbound token-based peer-to-peer reputation and contribution network. So any of you who join the accelerator cohort, as well as mentors and scouts who contribute to the program, will have an on-chain social graph, and you have an immutable evidence, proof of your relationship and contribution that we hope to continue to grow in the multi-chain world, as well as with FVM and the Filecoin ecosystem.
Amazing. All right, so if there's founders, in the audience, there's a lot of capital waiting for you, a lot of support, a lot of networks, and this is not their first radio. I can say by now, these are friends, these are partners, so you will be in amazing hands. Moving on, maybe to Vuk again. Hey, so you have been in an accelerator yourself. You might be the right person to share with the audience how participating in an accelerator has helped you to go to where you are today, which is about to close a major funding round backed by premier names.
Yeah, so I was actually on both sides, so I was able to to see what was going on. I mean, you should think about accelerators as folks that actually help you get all the context that they are, by the way, getting all the time from multiple locations. So they just give you that super fast. So you don't need to be out there as a founder. You can be building, and then you can leverage all the connections that those accelerators have. And they can also guide you what are the best ways of approaching fundraising in a particular market, because that's what they do all the time, and they have done that probably for the past years, and they have a lot of context on that. So for us, was super useful because of course, the context that we got, but also because of the reputation of the different accelerators that are out there. We specifically were working with the Alliance DAO. Alliance DAO is pitching the vision of being the YC of Web3. To some degree, they're actually on the path to becoming that. And yeah, that was super helpful for us, and it did help us get to a round for sure.
Amazing. All right. Playing it over to Jonathan, maybe. You have not been part of an accelerator, but you have been an active member of the PLN.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you maybe, explore a little bit on how PLN has helped you to get to where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, just to preface this, being a founder is awesome. You get to build new things and take risk. But being a founder is also really difficult and oftentimes super lonely. You don't have all the answers that you need. You haven't experienced things that if you had that experience, you would know better about what the right answer was. And so it's really important when you start a business that you have good foundations, you have good people that you can trust who are intelligent and motivated for you to achieve your goals as well, incentive alignment. And that's what I feel with PL Network. Like whatever problem that you have, maybe you know the answer and then you go and you do your thing. But if you don't know the answer, there's no better people to ask than the people who are in your corner, who are experienced in legal, in tax, in technical, in strategy, marketing, growth, you name it. And so just being able to have that network attached to you and as part of your company, it's invaluable, honestly.
Amazing. So we are throwing this word, PLN, PL, network at you quite a lot. And we thought it might be helpful to bring someone who's like deeply involved with, crafting the PLN on stage today, which is Denise. So Denise, would you mind sharing a little bit on like the mission and the goal of the PL network with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And Jonathan, really appreciate the detail you've given into how rewarding, but also how challenging it can be to be a founder. We're all here because we're very mission aligned with Filecoin, with FVM. We want to drive breakthroughs in computing, in humanity, through all of these new protocols, new primitives that we're creating. And that's not easy. And so once you've been through an accelerator program, you understand how valuable they can be, even years beyond. But as teams scale, your needs change. You have new challenges around going to market, around recruiting, around taxes, that unless you have a network you can rely on, it's difficult to find the answers to those questions. And so that's where the PLN comes in. We in this room and beyond have all been through some portion of those challenges. And we want to pool all of those resources, all of that knowledge to help teams who are going through it for the first time. Juan and Molly have talked a lot about crossing that innovation chasm and going through the R&D pipeline. The Protocol Labs network really helps you get to that last step of scaling your team and reaching those millions of users that you've envisioned for your project.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Cool. So maybe returning briefly to Gabriel and Shikai. So Accelerator are truly, a powerful entry point into that, Protocol Labs network. I guess what many of the, founders and builders in the audience would like to know is, what do I need to bring as a founder? What do I need to bring as a team to even be considered Accelerator ready? Can you explore that a little bit, maybe this time starting with Shikai? Yeah.
Sure thing. Actually, we're very open to founders at a pretty early stage. I think the minimum requirement you need is just a clear idea and a committed team. Of course, some nice to haves that will maximize your chances of getting into the accelerator program is some validation of your idea, right? If you've built the MVP, you've gotten some early users, you've won some hackathon prizes, you've gotten some grants. These are all positive indicators, but nice to haves, right? I think we have accepted teams and founders from like even before that, like a very early idea stage, and they've blossomed into fantastic examples, which I guess we'll share in a bit of time. Yeah. I guess one thing to watch out for is because our applications are not yet open, so do follow our Twitter at @longhashVC and @longhashX so that you can get prepared whenever applications open. Be one of the first, or be prepared to submit it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've worked with, mentored, invested in, first check in with so many founders. It's almost like pattern matching. And the things that we look for time and time again are, one, can you explain the unique insight that you have into the market or into a particular customer, into their need, into the problem that you're solving? Like, and truly articulate it, not with a bunch of buzzwords or hype words, but like really using the minimum amount of words necessary. Like, do you have a true handle on the market that you're entering into? The second thing that I always look for, that we always look for, is an understanding of why you. What do you, what's your domain expertise, or maybe you have a personal story of you having to overcome that grit, that perseverance that it takes to build a company. As Jonathan said, I mean, I've done this. I keep saying 3 times, 4 times now. It's never easy. I mean, it is the most birthing a company, doing anything, creating anything and bringing it into the world takes a tremendous amount of effort and grit and perseverance and having to overcome challenges. And I think probably everybody on the stage has had to do that. Many of you sitting out here have had to do that. And so we just look for that. And then is there any kind of a semblance in traction? And if there's not traction, what have you built or what have you created previously that we can kind of look to in your past? I think those are kind of like the 3 hallmarks of what we look for, and not for us to select you or choose you or invest in you. You should be doing that yourself anyways, right? Like in order to make sure that you have the highest probability of success. I have built companies that have gone to 0. It is the worst feeling ever. So, in order to not do that, I think those are the 3 things that we look for, but maybe those are the 3 things that you should be looking for in your project as well.
And maybe also for you, how can founders learn more about, how to engage, how to apply?
Follow us on Twitter, GPC_XYZ, or visit us at graphpapercapital.xyz, and we'd love to meet you. Our new website will be dropping next week, and then applications open for the spring cohort March 15th. So
amazing.
Very excited to meet all of you.
Thank you for sharing. Cool. All right. Turning it back to our founders here, our builders. So what message, if you had one message that you could send out there to the audience, to the builders that are out there, like what message do you have specifically relating to FVM? Like why should folks be excited right now? You spoke to it a little bit, Vuk, so maybe let's start with Jonathan for that one.
Sure. So yeah, just to build off my last answer about like the FVM enabling things that were previously impossible. Like I think it's quite interesting to take innovation from other blockchain networks and bring them into Filecoin. I think we'll see a lot of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's value in that too. But there's certain parts of Filecoin and the FVM that when you look close enough, you realize they cannot be done anywhere else. There is not another technology in the world that does this. And we all know in this room, the technology is not perfect. It's not there yet. There's a long way to go. So like getting in at this stage means 2 things. One is like you're contributing to a project that's actually doing something that was previously impossible. And 2, like you will be in the headspace and have like some new sort of creativity where you can build something yourself that wasn't possible before. And it's hard. It will take many at-bats, a lot of failures, but there will be a few really, really interesting new things that will stick around for a very long time. And you could literally be the one to have built that.
Yeah, I would definitely double down on the fact that you want to create something unique. And on the other hand, like the Filecoin protocol is probably one of the most complicated protocols out there from the token economics standpoint, like from all the tech that it actually had for a while. And that is all opportunities for founders to actually learn, build a lot of unfair advantages in. That means that people from the Ethereum ecosystem, when they figure out that some stuff work in this ecosystem, it's going to be super hard for them to get in the Filecoin ecosystem and try to replicate the same thing, because there is a lot of context that you need to learn. And even if you try to do something that doesn't work so well, you're actually building that unfair advantage that will possibly help you find the next job in a team that has raised funding for something else. And you'll definitely have built that unfair advantage in the ecosystem. So just focus on things that are not available anywhere else and focus on actually learning technology that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Amazing. All right, everyone. This concludes our panel. This was amazing. Thank you, all of you. This has been great. I hope you founders and builders out there, feel inspired and oriented and know where to go, know how to engage. Yeah, thank you for tuning in and being here. Thank you.
Thanks for showing up, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.